True Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, Friday, January 6th, 2017, the big news story was the false flag shooting at the Fort Lauderdale Airport. I put out a video yesterday on the shooting before they released the name of the shooter. I theorized that when they released the name of the shooter, his name would have the same gematria as the word shooting. And as it happens, his name has been released and it has the same gematria as the word shooting, which I explained in yesterday's video is routine in these false flag shootings. Every detail about these stories is contrived, made up. The people who are blamed as the shooters, they are created personalities, much like a Hollywood actor name, just for these fictional stories. They're saying the shooter's name is Esteban Santiago. Then later in the day, they said his name was Esteban Santiago-Ruiz. We'll look at all of these names that have been given to us. I have no doubt, though, that the name is completely fictional. This is not the real person's name. It's just the name being used for this event. And we might see this man's face in the media for months to come. Trials, stories of being imprisoned, possible execution, just like we've seen in the past with people such as Dylan Stormroof, another made-up character, Dozakar Sarnaev, another made-up character. In yesterday's video, I also theorized that he might be connected to Three Kings Day. It might be a tribute to Three Kings Day, which is a Latin, Spanish, Hispanic celebration connected to Christmas, remembering the birth of Jesus and the gifts he got from the three wise men. As it turns out, his name is also a tribute to Three Kings Day, which we'll get to. The reason I'm able to make these predictions is because I've been decoding these stories for more than 3 years now, every single day without a break. Every single piece of propaganda you've seen in the news, I have decoded. Every single one. I haven't skipped a single story. And the reason I've been doing this is because I so desperately want to wake up the American public, the worldwide public that is exposed to this propaganda-based news that is only here to instill fear and control the minds of the masses, persuading the masses to go along with a needless agenda of war, militarizing the nations of the world, building up police surveillance states instead of building a better world. If you follow the work I am putting out, you can learn this knowledge very quickly. You can use it in real time without even having to watch my videos, and you can learn to see for yourself how this daily propaganda is contrived by the numbers. If you missed yesterday's video, I'll link it down in the description along with my how-to Gematria video. Always talking about Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, because it's a language routinely used by the mainstream media, again, in creating propaganda. Our mainstream media, it is not here to give us beneficial information. It is an information weapon, filling our heads up with lies and deception to steer us, again, for the sake of agenda. Yesterday's video, I began by talking about the date of the shooting, January 6th, 2017, a date with 44 numerology. 44. A number always connected to these false flag shootings. The word shooting itself sums to 44, as does kill, as does military. They're telling us that yesterday's shooter, a former member of the military who has lost his mind. How many times have we heard this before? Former member of the military goes on a shooting spree, and the family says it's because they've lost their mind. Common. So anyway, 44, always a relevant number in shootings. The word shooting with the S exception, S can be worth 1 or 10 in the calculator. S is worth 1. If S is worth 10, shooting equals 53. Yesterday's date, January 6th, a date with a gematria of 53. And I pointed out yesterday, 44, 53, coded again and again in false flag shootings throughout history. I said, don't be surprised if these numbers are connected to the shooter's name. Well, then the shooter's name came out, Esteban Santiago. Again, yesterday was Three Kings Day, this Hispanic, Latin, Spanish holiday. Esteban Santiago sums to 53. Just like shooting, just like January 6th. Also, just like Three Kings, it was Three Kings Day. The word religion equals 53. Three Kings Day, a religious holiday. Three Kings with the S exceptions. There's two, or excuse me, with the S and the K exception. There's exceptions for S, K, and V. Only those three letters. Watch my How to Gematria video to understand why. Three Kings sums to 71 with the exceptions, just like Orion. And Orion's belt has the Three Kings. Orion's belt, the Three Kings, directly connected to the winter solstice. We celebrate the birth of Jesus just after that. Three Kings Day, part of the ongoing celebration. But anyhow, notice that Three Kings and Orion, same gematria. Just like Esteban Santiago with the S exceptions. Esteban Santiago with the S exceptions, 71. Perfect. Just like Three Kings for Three Kings Day. The powers that be, or the powers that shouldn't be, the Freemasons, the Zionists, the Jesuits who control world media, world government, world banking, who put on these false flags, again, to instill fear, to control the masses. They love to have their hoaxes, their propaganda events on spiritual holy days. Again and again, if you know what the Jewish calendar is, if you know what these other calendars of the world are, and when the celebrations are, you see that so often the false flags are on these dates and are tributes to them, subtly. But you'd never know it unless you are aware of Gematria. A few more notes I want to show you on this page. Let's go to the top here. So they ended up writing 5 dead, chaos at airport. As I explained, the Freemasons believe in order out of chaos. That's why they stage false flags. And then after the false flags, they often create a narrative in the media. And the next thing you know, your Congress people are trying to pass new laws. Now they got to spy on you more. Now they need more of your tax dollars for more police, whatever. Maybe they'll need another security machine at the airport, inconveniencing people further. But there's a reason they chose 5. Yesterday, they began with 9 injured. 9 injured. Then it went to multiple people dead. Then it finally went to 5 dead. 5 and 9 are the only 2 single-digit numbers when written out that sum to 42, just like Freemason, just like the big G, which is the middle of the Freemason compass and square. Again, Freemasons believe in order out of chaos, divide and conquer. Freemasons run your police. Freemasonry would establish this nation, the United States of America. They also put up 5 dead, 8 hurt in the end. I explained in the first video the significance of 58 before they even came with this headline. They said it was terminal 2. 2 is the number for division. Important number in numerology. When you write out 2, it sums to 58, just like Freemasonry, just like secret society, just like annuit coeptus, what's on your dollar bill above the pyramid. This all comes back to dollars and cents. Money is just another control tool. United States, with the S exceptions, also sums to 58. Nation founded by Freemasons, nation run by Freemasons to this day. And in all these false flags, they routinely code these same numbers again and again. It's amazing. If you missed what I talked about with Ari Fleischer yesterday, who became one of the first witnesses through Twitter, Ari Fleischer equals 113, 113, like the word mainstream, like the word dishonest, like the word perverted. In Bava Kama, the Jewish Talmud, 113a says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who isn't. Ari Fleischer, Jewish, like most people who control your media, your government, your banking. Freemasonry and the Zionist Jews are one and the same. Zionism equals 42 like Freemason. So here was an emphasized headline, family, shooting suspect lost his mind. Notice how they emphasize that phrase. If you pay attention to your mainstream news headlines, there's often words, fragments, emphasized. Lost his mind sums to 142, just like terrorist, just like Fort Lauderdale, where the shooting happened, reportedly. If you write out 42 as a word, it also sums to 142, number of the Freemasons. Lost his mind. So after they told us his name was Esteban Santiago, later reporting said that his name was Esteban Santiago-Ruiz, and he was 26 years old. 26, there's a reason our English alphabet is 26 letters. That is the God number in Gematria. The word God, G-O-D, is 7 plus 15 plus 4. G the 7th, O the 15th, D the 4th. God equals 26. Ancient languages based on Gematria, using their alphabet, the word God also comes to 26. Hebrew, one of the world's oldest languages, completely based on Gematria, a numbering and counting system. The word God in Hebrew sums to 26. The New Testament of the Bible was first retranslated in Greek. The Greek alphabet it was retranslated in was 26 letters. The word God in that alphabet sums to 26. In recent months, as this Gematria knowledge is growing, as more people are watching my channel, multiple people have gotten back to me and said God in their own language sums to 26. So anyhow, 26, very special number. The word Mason also sums to 26. The Freemasons, no doubt trying to play God over the masses. Seems that this is their game. You know, being the entity that controls the minds of the masses. Men thinking they're God because they have control over the technology that plays God over so many of our lives. The TV. And let's not forget, T's the 20th letter, V's the 22nd. T plus V, 20 plus 22 is 42, like Freemason. So they have this reporting from his uncle, Ernan, told the Bergen Record. Just right away, those numbers are standing out, or those names. Ernan and Bergen both sum to 33, like false flag, like masonry, like secrecy. In a moment, we're going to look at this man's dates of being discharged from the military, from joining the military. I'm going to show you how it's a giant 33 show, as it always is in these false flags. Remember the last time there were big headlines about an airport? It was Brussels, and the Brussels airport symbol is a 33 all over the place. Belgium sums to 33, plus a million other things. Anyhow, the hyphenated name they gave us, Esteban Santiago-Ruiz, sums to 226, 226. When you write out 226, it sums to 93. 93 is the number for propaganda. And again, these are numbers that the Zionists love to code again and again in their wrongful information that they put out. The word planet in Jewish Gematria equals 226. The word Saturn equals 93. To the occult, to the esoteric, Saturn, the most important planet, the keeper of time. 22693, used again and again in false flag terrorism. Think about the 93 World Trade Center bombing on February 26th, 2/26. These numbers used again and again and again, and here they are now in yesterday's false flag shooting. Already here in January. I've only put out so many videos, but almost every story we've decoded, it's come back to these numbers, 226 and 93. Yesterday was also Three Kings Day, which has a lot to do with Jesus Christ. I'll remind you, science says that the sun is 93 million miles away. The sun is the true keeper of time in this world. Saturn equals 93. Saturn is the keeper of time to the occult. God's sun equals 93. Crucifix 93. Saturn 93. Again, all of these winter celebrations that are supposed to be about Jesus, what they're really about is the sun in the sky, the winter solstice, the sun rising, each day becoming longer until the summer solstice. The hyphenated part of the name that they added on, Ruiz, it sums to 74, just like Jesus, like cross, like gospel, like occult, like Masonic, like Jewish, like killing. Numbers we see a lot. Out of the 50 states in the United States, only one sums to 74, and it's the 33rd state, Oregon. Think about Jesus on the cross at age 33. The sun equals 33. Oregon is also the only state with a date of establishment that has 93 numerology. 93, 74, Jesus, crucifix, God's Son. The truth has been coded into our language, our history, our nation. Remember, English, the English language rolled out around the same time as the United States of America. English equals 74, so does Gematria. So does holiday, so does Independence Day. Here we are in the U.S. with the 7-4 Independence Day. His last name, Santiago-Ruiz, in the English reduction method also sums to 61, like Fort Lauderdale. And what was the date of yesterday's shooting? January 6th. In most parts of the world, you write the day before the month. So 6/1. 6/1, there's a shooting in Fort Lauderdale, 61, by Santiago-Ruiz. 61's the God number in Jewish Gematria. Another relevant number, the word church is 61, the word miracle 61. I mean, this story would have to be a miracle for it to be real. How does anyone get a gun and ammunition through an airport? Can you imagine? You can't even get a little bottle of shampoo through. Of course, this was the big news story, News 61. No doubt by the end of 2017, this will be one of the bigger false flags remembered. I'm sure there'll be at least a few more over the course of the year. There'll be plenty more false flags, but these major shootings where they, really try to capture the mind and tell you about the murderer for weeks after and the murder trial, we only get less than a handful of these a year. This will no doubt be one of them. The story is, so he arrived with the gun that he checked in. They tell you that it's all legal. Anyone can do this. Come on, you guys. You've been to the airport. Nobody's coming through with the guns and the ammo in their bag. They first reported he flew on Air Canada, but then Air Canada said, oh, no, he was not on our flights. And then later Delta said, oh, he was on our flights. Remember, Delta equals 42, like Freemason. We covered that yesterday. This article about where we began with the lost his mind emphasis and the 142, lost his mind in English reduction sums to 52, like Air Canada, which was a focus of this story, like government, like prophecy. Five dead, 8 injured. They said he was flying from Alaska, from corner to corner, crossing the whole U.S., just like this propaganda will. Alaska's the 49th state. Alaska has Gematria 45. That makes me think about Donald Trump, the 45th president to be. Donald Trump, since he began his campaign, has made a lot of divisive rhetoric towards Hispanics, Mexicans. I feel that this is part of the riddle. This is coming just before Inauguration Day. Donald Trump just won the 58th presidential election. Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2017, a date with 58 numerology. We'll see how this story persists. I'm sure Donald Trump will be referencing it. Donald Trump always using the propaganda. Remember who Donald Trump is. He's a puppet stooge, an actor agent. He just goes out there and fulfills what his Zionist Freemasonic masters tell him to say. That's why throughout the last year and a half where Donald Trump's been campaigning for president, there's been so many examples where he's said something poisonous, meant to program the public, and then just days later there was a news story to back up his point. He said Mexicans were doing all the raping. Then we got the story out of San Francisco of supposedly the illegal immigrant finding a federal agent's gun wrapped up in a t-shirt on a pier in San Francisco. He supposedly picked it up and accidentally shot and killed a 31-year-old woman. Remember this? Right after Donald Trump said Mexicans are doing all the raping. Days later, Donald Trump said, I am Batman. And then the next day, there were 3 deaths related to the Batman series. 2 people that were in the old television show. And then a man in Maryland who supposedly drove a remake of the Batmobile. Supposedly he visited children's hospitals and was killed in a car accident. Donald Trump said something about Belgium, then the Belgium airport terror hoax happened. Even more than that. But anyway, I think that the coding of 45 in Alaska is also the 49th state. Washington equals 49. Revelation equals 49. In Revelation, the warnings are trumpets. This is the trumpets ticket. All these stories are coded propaganda, part of an ongoing narrative. We'll see what Donald Trump weighs in with. See if his administration tries to make some new laws. Keep airports more safe from terrorists. Inconvenience people even further. If only people knew the truth about 9/11 and what happened on that day by the numbers. And then how we've been harassed at the airports ever since. Real quick, somebody left this comment about a capstone event. This was new language to me. I'd never heard of a capstone event before. But apparently this is terminology that's now explaining what's going on at these false flags. People who work for FEMA are being used in these false flag drills to make it seem like there's a murder scene when there isn't. We've seen this at the Boston Marathon bombing and so many other places since. They're calling this a capstone event. There's something interesting about the word capstone. It equals 93 like propaganda. So I'm going to remember this terminology. I'm going to do some more research on this. Just want to share that with you. That was a new one for me. Capstone events. Here was CNN's major article last night about the shooter. Minor offenses, no red flags. This is becoming familiar. They've said this now about multiple of these shooters that, they have a history. Maybe the family thought they were a little bit off the rocker, but they had no criminal record. Never really any acts of wrongdoing before. But then supposedly just out of nowhere going on these mass shootings. They gave us this with the Orlando false flag earlier this year, and then it turned out that person had worked for the government, even helping participate in government propaganda films before. We might find the same about this man. But the headline, minor offenses, no red flags. Gematria of 115, like killing. The 115th Congress just began. Remember, Donald Trump, his presidential campaign, went from June 16th until Election Day, November 8th. June 16th, 2015 to November 8th, 2016. That was 511 days, the reflection of 115. With the S exceptions, there's 1, 2, 3 S's in here. That means you can add 9 more for each one. 9 times 3 is 27. Add 27 to 115. You're right back to 142. Like terrorist, like when you write out 42, like Fort Lauderdale, like lost his mind, which we just saw on the other page. They say the 9/11 attack, they say it was 1 hour and 42 minutes long. So again, his name, Esteban Santiago, Gematria 53. This came on 3 Kings Day, 3 Kings 53, January 6th, 53. January 6th is always the date of 3 Kings Day. So perfect there, right? January 6th, 3 Kings, they both equal 53. Again, religion equals 53. I should also mention that the number 53 is the 16th prime number. The only prime numbers are where only 1 and the number itself divides into it. So 53 can only be divided by 53 and 1. 53 is the 16th prime. The shooting was on January 6th, 1/6 or 6/1, depending on where you are. But fitting name for the date. If you haven't seen the live leaks video, CNN showed a little bit of it. It's just so obviously fake and staged. People standing around clueless, like nothing's going on. They have this woman who does this bizarre zombie type walk towards the camera. It's just so bad, Truth Seeker. It's just so blatantly fake. It's like watching a really terrible movie. So anyhow, they put out this information. They say he joined the Puerto Rico National Guard, U.S. territory, December 14th, 2007. Let's just start with that date right there. December 14th. Whoops, this is a typo. It shouldn't say 2017. It should say 2000. Let's just do it together. The typo doesn't make a difference. 12 plus 14 is 26, plus 20 more is 46, and this shouldn't say plus 17, it should say plus 07. Plus 07 is 53, 12 plus 14, 26. He's 26 years old, plus 20 more, 46, plus 07, 53. So the date he joined the Puerto Rico National Guard, date with 53 numerology, just like his name, Esteban Santiago. Just like shooting, just like January 6th, just like Three Kings. It was also a date, you can add 12 plus 14 plus 07. It was also a date with 33 numerology. False flag equals 33, masonry 33, secrecy 33, order 33, federal police. Puerto Rico in Gematria sums to 59. So does the word kill in Jewish Gematria. They reported 5 were killed. At first they said 9 were injured. 5 and 9, numbers that have to do with killing, with Puerto Rico, where he's from. The next date on here is Santiago was deployed to Iraq with the Puerto Rico National Guard from April 23rd, 2010 to February 19th, 2011. April 23rd is the 113th day of the calendar year. Mainstream equals 113, dishonest 113, green screen 113, Ari Fleischer, which we talked about, 113. Again, Bava Kamal 113a says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who isn't. There's more things that are interesting about this date. This date has 52 numerology. In yesterday's video, I talked about how 52 connects to government and more. I talked about how it connected to the name of the airport. Both of these dates are interesting, but let's just talk about the date he was discharged, August 16th, 2016. Discharged from the Alaska Army National Guard for unsatisfactory performance. Look at this date. This is a date with a life lesson number of 33, just like how the date he first joined the Puerto Rico National Guard was a date with 33 connection. Life lesson number 33, the false flag number, from that date to the date of the shooting is 144 days. 144 days. This came on Three Kings Day, which is to remember when the 3 wise men gave Jesus the presents, frankincense, gold, myrrh. 3 wise men equals 144. Just like when you write out 71, remember Orion equals 71. His name, Esteban Santiago, with the S exception, sums to 71. 3 kings with the exception sums to 71. So 71, also 44. The only 2 numbers when written out that sum to 144 are 44 and 71. 71 relevant to his name, the holiday. Yesterday's date, a date with 44 numerology, the date of the shooting. Shooting 44. Isn't it amazing how it all works out? From his discharge to the shooting, a span of 144 days. 144 days. 144, also a number connected to time. That was the stretch in time. The square root of 144 is 12. 12, very relevant to time, 12 months in a year. Think about Jesus and his 12 disciples. Many people say the Bible's all astrology. Jesus is the sun in the sky. The 12 disciples are the 12 constellations that follow around Jesus. 12 hours in the morning, 12 hours in the evening. The Fibonacci sequence, they say the numbers of God. The 12th Fibonacci number is 144, as amazing as it works out. Number also connected to killing throughout history. Killer equals 144. So many presidential assassinations come back to 44 and 144. And not just presidential, but just political. Famous assassinations. Malcolm X, killed by the numbers 44 and 144. Martin Luther King Jr., Abraham Lincoln, JFK, Bobby Kennedy died at 1:44 in the morning. JFK was the 44th term president, died on the first day of Sagittarius. Sagittarius equals 144. Died on 11/22. 11 plus 22, 33. Died in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Master Mason. So it's no coincidence here, this guy's background and the dates given, and 144 days from being discharged, he goes on this shooting spree. This comes at the end of the 44th president's term. There's always more, truth seeker. There's always more, but I just try to give you the meat of it, what to know. If you want to go through this article and break down the rest of the dates and details, things I skipped over, there's more to know. But I want to keep this video under a half hour. That's my goal. We'll see what the time is. Just so you know, I'm never timing myself when I make these videos. I just have a general idea. Okay, I want to keep this under this amount of time. His mind was not right. They continue to emphasize this in the CNN headlines. His mind was not right also sums to 113, like mainstream, like dishonest, heavily coded number in all the hoaxes. Down here, they just emphasized not right. Not right has gematria of 666, number of the beast, number having to do with prophecy. The Zionists, the Freemasons, most of their coding, it comes from the Bible, the book of prophecy, the books of prophecy, the final book of the Bible, Revelation, the book of prophecy and destruction, where so much of their coding comes from. There's other books in the Bible, though, having to do with prophecy. Notice not right sums to 666. Revelation makes 666 infamous. Number of the beast, that's from the verse Revelation 13:18. Talks about how the person with wisdom will calculate the number of the beast. I'm teaching you that wisdom right here, truth seeker. Not right also has gematria of 48, like hoax, propaganda, Hollywood. Part of the name of this airport is Hollywood. Hollywood run by the Zionist Jews and Freemasons. Whole lot of them down in Florida. Illuminati 48, evil 48. The Illuminati is Freemasonry. Live leaks, if you want to watch their video, it's a little more than 30 seconds. If you watch it, it's mostly people standing around, looking without a clue. But it also shows in that clip this scene where the people are supposedly dead and murdered. And right away, what stands out is just how fake the blood looks. Here's this guy bent over. He's got his hand in a pool of blood that looks very plasticky. Here's a person laying down like they've been killed, bleeding from the head. This is the most realistic thing looking in here. But when you look at this blood carefully, you say, I've never seen any blood that looks like that before. And that's true in all these false flags. It's usually too bright. They didn't use that super bright blood that they've been using recently. But this doesn't look right either. You know? And if you just watch this live leaks video, the way people are standing around over here as if nothing's going on, I mean, it's just all wrong. Can you imagine being next to a scene where all these bullets were fired and people are murdered? It would come through in your body. You wouldn't just be standing there calmly. Some lady walks over to you like she's a zombie. I wonder about this backdrop back here, too, that they got. If you missed the video I put out yesterday on 3 Kings Day, I'll link that in the description. It's important to watch. You'll see how I talk about the same numbers that are coded into the name of this shooter. Put this out before they even put out the name of the shooter. And I'll also link down in the description the first video I did on the shooting yesterday. I make some other important points there. 3 Kings Day has gematria of 74, like Jesus, like cross, like gospel, like Messiah. Christianity equals 74. Gematria of 3 kings. Same as Esteban Santiago. Yeah, interesting information. Worth knowing. So I'll link those videos. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do. I keep up to date with all of the false flag news and propaganda, plus a whole lot more. Show you how sports are rigged, how celebrities are murdered or fake their deaths by the numbers. A lot of things going on in this world people need to know about. So thanks as always for listening, Truth Seeker. Until next time.